Hi, everyone. Welcome to DVTV in Space. I'm not Tammy Nash.
You're not? What?
That's like the perfect introduction.
But I am David Taffet. Tammy took a vacation this week. Her wife is belly dancing, and she can talk about that next week. Her wife's a wonderful belly dancer. We have with us Israel Luna, Angel Martinez, and Brandy Amara Sky.
Howdy, everybody.
And the big news this week is trans crap.
Trans crap.
It is the bathroom bill in Austin that made it through the Senate.
Don't get him started. Don't get him started. He's already getting heated.
We have an hour. Let's get
feel
started. And the trans nonsense from Donald Trump about trans people in the military. My favorite part about that is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff came out and said, we're not making any changes.
I saw that.
I didn't know that.
Something interesting that none of y'all probably know because it happened in the female drag community. EOI Femme, which is a national drag pageant for femme entertainers, just did their national pageant this past week, and a trans woman won the femme division. And so there were some in the community in female drag they were up in arms. They were kind of like, well, how can a trans woman win this femme division? But she's post-op. She's told, gender marker female, so she's a female. So there's a lot of that energy happening, I think, out in the universe.
I think that also goes back to, I think a lot of stigma comes from within the community. Instead of bringing each other up, they're always trying to find reasons to bring people down. And especially if, you guys who work for titles and to win certain things in what you do, somebody who really, really wants it is going to hate on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're going to put it down. They're going to bring it down. And, I just think that's pretty sad.
And I think part of their argument, the female drag community, was that there's not a whole lot of outlets. I mean, really, there's only a handful of titles that female drag queens, can actually win. And so they felt like part of the community felt like this was one of them that was taken away from them. But I'm like, queen, trans, female, I don't care. I want to compete against the best. I want to know that I won against the best. So whoever that is, put me against a drag king, put me up against a trans. I don't care. I just want to win that shit.
So just out of curiosity, so you don't think that it's going to go any further than just him tweeting about it and that's it, and everyone's going to say no, shut up, Trump, and now we just move on?
He's come prepared.
I
love it. Yes.
With quotes. I've never seen so much support from Republicans for the transgender community. It started with John McCain, and if I can find, it started with all kinds of Democrats.
Which I have an issue with John McCain, but we'll get to that in a second.
He made a hero. He was a little bit of a mini hero earlier today. Here we go.
Lord.
Well, John McCain said there's no reason to force service members who are able to fight, train, and deploy to leave the military regardless of their gender identity. That's real clear. He's just saying if you're a soldier, you've been trained, why would you leave the military? Why would we force you out? Orrin Hatch, he's that left-wing liberal Utah Republican senator. Not exactly a liberal.
I was going to say liberal. I was like, that's an interesting.
No, he's not. He's
Like,
one of the most conservative people in the Senate. I don't think we should be discriminating against anyone. No,
okay.
I know, exactly. Do you remember the don't ask, don't tell argument? He was not on our side on this. All of a sudden, I don't think we should be discriminating against anyone. Huh?
Right.
Transgender people are people and deserve the best we can do for them. I look forward to getting much more information and clarity from our military leaders about the policy the president tweeted today.
Have all these people forgotten like the whole bathroom thing that was happening, just 2 months ago? And they're all like...
Joni Ernst, she was the first female combat veteran elected to the Senate. She's a Republican from Iowa. And this was a statement put out by her office. While she believes taxpayers shouldn't cover the costs associated with the gender reassignment surgery, Americans who are qualified and can meet the standards to serve in the military should be afforded that opportunity.
Well, I don't want to have to pay for all the Viagra that they're spending.
Right.
I don't want to have to pay for that. What use is that to me as a lesbian? Hello?
Yeah, well, so my question is, right now, are they saying that if somebody wants to have gender reassignment surgery, that the military pays for it?
That's what they're exploring.
Oh, I mean, what's the law right now? I mean,
the law is right now that it is being covered.
Okay.
It is being covered now.
And they have an issue
Happen
with
to
that
have
because
some
they're like, oh,
statistics
they're
on that.
doing it because,
Yeah, because it's
for
costing
fun.
so much.
Like-
Why is everything I'm looking for the last page? No, here it is. Security for Melania Trump to stay in Trump Tower for 6 months.
Exactly.
$26.8 million. That doesn't include the lost business on Fifth Avenue with streets being closed. And okay. Trump's weekend trips to Mar-a-Lago, $20 million. So security for the two of them for extraordinary trips and stays, $46.8 million. The cost of all transgender health care, that includes hormone treatment and the few gender reassignments that they've been asked to do, and transgender health care in the military for a year, anywhere between 2.4 million and at most 8.4 million, because they don't know how many transgender people are in the military. It's anywhere up to 15,000 people.
Wow.
So 8.6 or 8.4 million would cover the 15,000 number.
Yeah.
The 2.4 would cover the lower 5 or so thousand number. But $46.8 million for extraordinary security for the Trumps. That's not their regular security, traveling around Washington, going to the Capitol,
Right.
going around. That's their extraordinary travel.
Right.
A couple more quotes.
Where did we sign up?
Richard Shelby, Republican from Alaska. You ought to treat everybody fairly and give everybody a chance to serve. Tom Tillis, a Republican from North Carolina. I would have significant objections to any proposal that calls for a specific group of American patriots currently serving in uniform to be removed from the military. Huh?
Angel, how do you feel about all of this? Because
Those are
it's like-
Republicans.
Yeah,
Those are not the Democratic
Yeah.
responses. The Democratic responses were basically on the order of let's impeach him.
Well,
Yeah.
when you start listening to the actual numbers of what's being spent and the medical costs and whatnot, the thing that I guess has me most perplexed is the fact that it was the politicians that said that this was such. They were honing in on the fact that it was such a mental disorder, and that that we're just somehow just not all there. We're confused. We just don't know, and
No, you're patriots.
No, well, yeah, but you know
Just
what I mean.
quoting.
So that's how all this stuff is covered under healthcare. But then now they're saying that it's not going to be covered. So where does the fact that they said that this was a mental disorder and everything else that they tagged on, where does that go? What happens then?
Well, that's a whole different discussion that has
No,
to do
no,
with
no, but I'm
healthcare,
saying-
which they turned down yesterday to repealing.
No, I know, but I'm
Right.
saying like that's kind of what's. I mean, what was the word you used earlier? Oxymoron.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same.
Yeah.
It's like it's a contradiction in itself, and so that's where they're basing, taking transgenders out of the military for that reason. That's why I brought that up.
But
That's
that's
the
not
biggest-
the reason Trump gave. Trump said
Has he
that
has he said anything about it? Because I know
no, just his 3 tweets. But the reason that he gave in his
I can't
tweet
believe he tweeted
had to
that. I'm
do
still like, what? Sorry.
and what everybody has explained to him is there is no such thing as an executive tweet that has any power.
Any kind
Yeah.
of,
Substance.
yeah, like,
The reason he gave is because of the cost. That's why I gave these costs. His reason was we can't be doing this because of the added cost to military health care.
Well, that's what I was talking about.
And this amount would be 0.1% of the military health care budget.
Now, why do you think he tweeted these 3 tweets? Is there
You're asking
a
me
plan
to go into his brain
Well,
because
like-
he makes sense.
Right. That's a good point.
That's
a
a
good
place
point.
that you can navigate
Because
through.
I feel that he's trying to distract everyone from something else because he's doing such a terrible job.
I kind of feel that way too. I feel like this is kind of like a distraction mechanism. It's like, okay, here, I'm going to put out this tweet and, get everybody in uproar about this while I do all of this, behind the scenes. So I feel you on that, Israel. I feel you on that.
Yeah, of course it's a distraction. He's annoyed about Russia. Why is he so annoyed about this investigation into Russia interfering in our elections unless he has something to hide?
He's annoyed that, that it won't investigate Hillary Clinton. He's annoyed that a lot of things that he's wanted to do really aren't going his way.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think that because a lot of people, and this was proved by my show that just aired, was there are still people that are still confused about what transgender means. And so they're easy to pick on. That community is easy to pick on. So he's like, let's pick on them to distract from the whole Russia thing. That's kind of what I think it is.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier. Remember, the lack of knowledge.
Right.
So when there's lack of knowledge, it's easy to manipulate people into what you want them to think because they don't know about it.
Right.
It's so foreign.
And then
know?
you get people already on Facebook that are like, well, yeah, I don't want to pay for them getting their, weenies chopped off. It's like, wait, how do you know they're wanting to get that?
I also think it's,
done,
it's like a really
it's
hot
ignorance.
topic social issue. A couple years ago, it was the LGBT community, and this is the new, trans are the new civil rights. And so I think that anytime that you get this like hot topic, they're going to focus on that, and it's going to play into social consciousness, and it's going to be that button that keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And it sucks, but in a way that's forcing people to get educated. Like if you really want to make a change, you're going to have to educate yourself in what all this language is, what this means to you, what this means to our community, So it's a hot button issue, but it's also a good thing that it's out in the open, because hopefully we as a community and our allies, like you were saying, you've never seen so much
And we need to take a break in a minute, but
Oh, yeah, we do.
I want to talk about that a little bit more. But what we were talking about before the show is, isn't it interesting how this person over here cares what your gender identity is?
Yeah.
Why do they even care?
They don't. I served in the military, and we talked about this earlier, and the only thing I care about is that you do your job so we don't die.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. It makes no sense that somebody cares that I'm gay, that cares that you're lesbian, cares that you're whatever the hell you are. And
Undefinable. You're undefinably you.
and it doesn't matter because
Yeah, just do your job right.
it just doesn't matter. We're going to be back with more DVTV in Space with Angel, Brandy,
What's your name again?
Israel,
You were about to did you start with a C or a K? He's like, and with
which is why I always keep a sheet in front of me. And I had it underneath.
In the old days, when you wanted a home or auto insurance quote, you called an insurance agency and they would give you a quote from the company they represented. But when you call the Stephen Graves Insurance Agency, Stephen gets quotes from all the companies he represents, bringing you the best coverage at the best possible price. For home or auto,
call 877-599-0808. Stephen Graves Insurance.
And welcome back to DVTV in Space. We have Princess Leia
I can live with that.
and Brandy. One of the things that I noticed with this transgender debate, the opening day of the legislature, of the special session of the legislature, about 1,000 people gathered outside to support Planned Parenthood, to support public schools, and they were against school vouchers and LGBT issues and no bathroom bills and a whole bunch of things. A small portion of the people who were there were LGBT people. Different speakers got up to speak, one on each of the issues, and when somebody got up to speak about trans issues, I have never seen so many straight people cheering for trans people. This week, during that whole debate about trans people, on each of the late night talk shows, people were cheering when Jimmy Kimmel and
Jimmy Fallon,
and Jimmy
gave
Fallon.
up his opening monologue, when Trump treated that for a trans person to talk about what everything meant and what was going on in the military. So
and
that
was cheered.
And was cheered, yeah.
I'm so glad that this is one good thing that Trump is doing without meaning to, is he's so anti something and it's so ignorant, lack of knowledge here of this issue, that it's making everyone, even somebody who may have been still confused about trans anything, that make them go, well, hold on a second, Trump, stop being such a bully. I'm kind of on their side. I kind of want to protect them from you because you're such a bully. And maybe that's kind of turning things around.
Yeah, I think it's also educating a lot of people because they, remember the girl that was sitting right here too, she didn't know. And ignorance can be bliss, but it isn't always, and it's bringing a lot of people together. I think people are feeling like the foundation of the administration is cracking.
I agree. I think what you're saying and what Angel is saying is that we're being unified to a point that I'm not sure that all of these little subsects would feel that we would be unified. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think what Trump is doing inadvertently by being such a moronic asshole is that he's unifying these communities together, the allies with trans, the LGBT community with trans, black, browns, people, POCs, people of color with the community. We're all kind of becoming unified in this one stance against the Cheeto.
One of the ways I've seen it is, like when we were debating gays in the military, it was as if the bar was here, some people were on this side, some people were on this side. Trump has made this discussion, he's brought it to such a disgusting level.
Right.
He's down here, so it's real easy to be right here.
Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting point that he said that. Like, the bar is literally like down here, so all of these other people already fall in here. So,
Right.
yeah.
And speaking of don't ask, don't tell. So with McCain, wasn't he one of the biggest people that kept fighting against it and saying, no, we should not allow this and we should not allow gay people? Wasn't so I still have, a grudge over that. So what is he doing that's so fantastic now?
But I think people evolve, though. I mean, you're not the same person that you were 10 years ago. And I think David brought up a good point. Right now, he doesn't really care. Like, right now, he's just trying to do the good
Because
thing.
he could
with
drop dead?
Yeah, the brain tumor. Like, I think towards the end of your life, you start going, oh, I was... And
Wow, all it takes for you to evolve is that you might die any second.
I think
he's such a
Well,
wonderful
it also
person.
or the
goes more
awareness
than
of
that,
that,
though.
Well,
though.
it also
Yeah.
goes back to what she said too. I mean, he's brought it down such a disgusting level that people are like, oh,
I'm glad that the quote that you gave is a very nice quote. I haven't forgiven him completely.
No, that's fine. I
He's
haven't
still a
totally
jerk.
forgiven. Yeah, no, I still think he's right up there. But
Okay,
I appreciate the little sparks of glimmer and light that I see in people that have always been traditionally so rampant against us as a
Gotcha.
community.
Okay, I can live with that.
A lot of people, had marriage equality happened a year or two earlier, a lot of people wouldn't have been there with us. It took them a year or two to get there.
And I was so afraid that it wasn't going to pass the year that it did. Like, I was like, we need one more year. I was a little trepidatious, that we weren't ready, that they were going to push it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's the Supreme Court. If this, doesn't pass, then we are effed, So, yeah.
I mean, right up until the minute. We had some indications, like when Ruth Bader
Still,
Ginsburg
my hands are
performed a
sweating just
wedding
thinking about that.
a
Me
couple
too.
of weeks
I was
before
on
the announcement.
Facebook. Sweating.
When Ginsburg performed a wedding, she kind of slyly said, she slipped in by the powers invested in me by the city of Washington, D.C., because they already had marriage equality, and the Constitution of the United States, and she kind of winked at everybody. She kind of gave the indication where they were going with it, but still, until they announced it, it was, what's going to happen? But a number of people, they call it evolving. I call it, okay, they learn to mind their own business, because why do they
Right.
care?
That's a great way to put it, because that's exactly what they're realizing. It's like,
And one of the
wow.
things I think McCain learned with gays in the military, because we've had a few years now where gays can serve openly in the military, and look at all these incidents we've had, like none, and
0.
I'm sure a lot more sex. That's just in my fantasy.
In your fantasy. with the
and I'm
Navy
sure
uniforms.
exactly the same amount. You know, it's exactly the same amount, because
Yeah.
it went on before. We know that. You were in the military. Give us some
I
examples.
never
was quietly while you were talking. Like,
But there
That's
haven't
hot.
been
I'm gonna
any
think about that
problems
later.
with it. That's the the point is there've been no problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so so gays served in the military, 0 problems. And one thing John McCain is, I think, is practical. He'll actually look at the evidence.
That's yeah. I think he kind of he's at least open to listening to the actual evidence instead of just going off of some kind of non-factual.
You know, when you were talking about during our break, you were just saying during the campaign when Obama and McCain were running against each other, and there was one woman at one town hall who called Obama a Muslim, and
Right.
you know, as if that's a bad thing, and called him all kinds of other
and
things.
he didn't feed off of that.
No, he said,
corrected
wait,
her.
wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We disagree on policies,
Right.
Yeah.
and that's honorable.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you know, and I remember thinking, you know, when you're talking about how he likes to gather evidence and listen and everything, I remember where they would have these statistics like it's distracting because pretty much all gay men want to do in the military is have sex. Probably true. But beside the point.
it's not just them. I'm just saying.
That is
Okay,
true. That
it's
is
not
true.
just them.
But all of these ridiculous reasons to not have gay people in the military, because what you can go by, if there are any statistics, is the rest of the world, and the rest of the world said we have no issue with it. So where were they gathering all this information? And then it was McCain that would come up with these quote facts, and then they would research who did the test, and you're like, oh, it's these same people that are anti-gay everything. And so he was that first one. That's why I just keep saying he doesn't get a quick out because he did something nice the last couple of days. That's just from me, though.
You know, I'm with you, though. I think he's at a point in his life where he knows that the chance of survival right now is not good. And he wants to spend his last weeks or months or year in the Senate doing the right thing.
And all it
leaving
took was
his mark.
him almost dropping dead.
But I think if everybody had that kind of social consciousness and awareness of like, oh my God, we are all going to die because we are all going to die. I think if we all lived in that manner, the world would be a much better place.
If he didn't have the tumor, I would be more on his side.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
As-
You
and
think
I
that
get
that's
it.
what swayed
But,
him?
Yeah.
yeah, you know, I get it. But one thing I like about his coming along and making this statement, it wasn't until after he made that statement that all these other senators came along. It gave them the permission to say what they really believed, and those senators give other Republican senators
I'm loving
the
the
right
domino
to say.
effect.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
so glad that this is happening. I'm just saying.
You're just mad that he was the first domino?
yeah.
Or
No,
it
no,
doesn't
no,
it doesn't make up for the fact of all the other dominoes that went
Right.
the other
I'm
way. I
glad that
get
he
it.
did it, and I appreciate it, but he's not my friend.
Got it. Oh, it's like George Bush. George Bush will never be my friend.
Right.
I
He's
like
my
his
good
artwork,
friend.
but I don't.
He's my great friend.
I'm not. No.
Yeah.
I get it. I feel you.
Yeah. That's all. That's all.
So where do you think we go from here on this trans ban?
We all look
We
at
all
Angel.
look at the
We
token
don't know.
trans on her.
Just talk to the
I
trans
feel
man here.
attacked. Oh my God. So where do we go as where? What do you mean?
Do you think the president issues an actual executive order?
Nah, I don't think he will. I think, you know, it does go back to what he said, that it's a distraction. Mm-hmm. He's trying to distract everybody. He sees everybody kind of turning on him because the Russia thing is coming to light. And so he needs to do something to divert everybody's attention. I don't
You think
that's
that's
gonna
all this
happen.
is?
Well, I mean, it's not just he's not the, you know, be all say all.
He's a
gotta-
president, but he's not God.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's a president. He's not a dictator. It's not what he says. He's got to go through avenues.
he had
And
his
right
way.
now, you're right. And right now, the justice, you know, I almost said justice of the peace.
Justice Department.
I'm having a brain fart. I'm sorry. The military people. Thank you. the chiefs. They're not agreeing with him.
Yeah.
And as long as they don't, this isn't going to come to fruition. So,
And the reason they're not, they base what they believe based on what's actually happening.
Well-
and what they've seen are, oh, we have all of these transgender people in the military.
well, how
and we
can
have
you make
zero
it,
problems?
How can somebody who's never been there
That's
and
how
experienced it
I feel.
make that decision?
Yeah.
You know,
and didn't they come out with like all of his draft when he?
Yeah, he evaded
Yeah,
everything,
he
yeah.
evaded everything. Like they came out with the list of all the times that he
You
evaded
know,
the
and
draft.
how
Yeah.
about that time too that he said that he compared himself to a military veteran.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I'm
It's
like,
oh.
whoa, you know, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
no way.
So this is quickly going to go away. You think like, hey, he said this, people are pissed off, and
I
now
don't
they're
think it'll be
turning on him, and
quickly.
now,
See, this is
Moving on.
where I'm worried. He is such a stubborn prick.
Yep.
yeah.
And the more that people don't support him, the more
He's
he's
gonna keep
backed
picking.
up, the more he's going to keep
I
up
look at
it.
it as he's digging his own hole,
Yeah.
you know, and he'll fall in it
But
real
he's
quick.
already had a
I
hole,
agree.
and he's still there. He's still in the office. He's
Not really,
He's had a
because
hole from
look
day
at all the
one.
oppositions he's getting now. He may still be there, but he's getting a lot more opposition.
Yeah.
Why don't we come back and talk more about that? This is DVTV. I need to look at my sheet so that I don't screw up Israel's name.
I liked Princess Leia.
Princess
I like
Leia.
Princess Leia. That's very
This is DVTV in space, and we'll be back with more right after this.
Princess Leia.
And welcome back to DVTV in Space. I'm David. I'm here with Israel, with Brandy, and with Angel. And I just thought I'd throw out a subject. Caitlyn Jenner.
He did that on purpose. 'Cause
Yay! I mean,
just,
oh, never mind.
Yeah,
Boo!
we just got in during the break. We just got into a heated read. I got into a heated diatribe about Caitlyn Jenner. So I'm gonna let Israel start off.
Well,
Because Angel's
Princess
the big
Leia.
fan.
Yeah.
No, fuck that. No. See, now you're going to get everybody hating me
He's
now.
inspired by her because
Oh
she
my
does,
God.
says wonderful things. Well, I do know that she was quoted after Trump came out with his whole trans ban thing in the military. She came out and she tweeted, harsh words, prepare. What happened to your promise to fight for them?
Fuck her.
That's all she said.
No, that wasn't all she said. She also said she would still vote for him.
Did she really?
Yes.
Oh, okay, Angel, go for it. What do you want to say?
I'm about to throw these headphones at him.
Why? Well, Brandy was asking, why is Caitlyn like up on this pedestal for the trans community? She's so new.
That was my whole thing. Like when she first came out, and I was like, she's gonna come out as trans. I was like, I really hope my community does not put her on some kind of pedestal as being, because she's part of the Kardashian clan, as on some pedestal of being like our speaker or being some kind of like woke advocate. Yeah. And that's exactly what a lot of our community did, and it really pissed me off because I'm like, we have, Laverne Cox, you said Janet Mock. We have all of these strong.
Do you know who one of my favorites is?
Who?
Amanda Simpson. Do you know who she is?
No.
She was she was Undersecretary of the Army under Obama, and this woman, to talk to her, I mean, right over my head when she was talking about military things. She used to work for.
Really? I think I
Louise Young's company. They were good friends. That's how I know her. Raytheon. She used to work for Raytheon, so she's a rocket scientist, basically. She became Undersecretary of the Army and was in charge of all purchasing. And the Army's so big that basically it controls purchasing for all the military.
Why do we not know more about this woman?
But that's what I'm saying. Why do we know more about Caitlyn Jenner than we do about her, who's actually changed?
And when she talks
the
about
world.
trans issues, while she's talking about military issues, and I'm like, okay, trying to take notes for an article.
That's when you just hit record on your phone and just be like,
exactly.
yeah.
But with trans issues, she's...
Our community is bad at that because I remember when Chastity Bono came on, and it's like, why is this person...
All of a sudden, because you have a spotlight.
Just because you're Cher's son.
Yeah,
that's
you've
it.
done nothing for our community.
Right. So why do we do that? Is it the pop culture thing that they're popular? So
I think it's pop culture.
It's like the who I know type attitude.
Yeah.
And our community is very bad at that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
now,
think
one thing about Caitlyn, when she was still with the Kardashian family, she's the one completely responsible for their success. She was the business brains behind that organization.
I didn't know anything about that. But
I thought it was the mom. I heard that. I don't watch the show, but I thought that the mom was like the one that ran the thing. No?
Maybe the mom and the two of them together.
Got it. Okay.
It certainly
she knows
wasn't
her
the three
business
idiot
then.
daughters.
Right.
So
That is true. That's a good point.
tell me how you really felt, David.
Now I do know that Caitlyn, has had her own show for one season, and then the second season didn't do well.
That's right. She did.
Yeah, because of her opinions.
It was called I Am Cat, wasn't it?
I Am Kate.
Kate.
I Am Kate.
I Am Kate. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
and
right.
it didn't do well. I think it started going into the second season, and then it ended because people stopped watching. Because you can understand
political
why.
views, yeah.
Her political
Well,
views.
being trans, I'll tell you, because I've seen that show a couple of times. What was more insulting about that is you have so many trans people that are not like economically inclined or financially inclined. And all she did was rave about what she had, what she was going to get, and it's kind of hard, like you said, to put her on this pedestal because so many trans people are struggling. What we do it's not cheap. You know what I mean? It's not cheap. And it's just all we're trying to do is become who we truly are. And then you have this chick, who is just raving about how much money she has, what she gets for free.
Because she comes from a point of privilege. I mean, she's privileged.
And so...
Well, being gay isn't cheap either. Look at what it took to make him look that way.
But you know what I mean? Like that was such a turnoff for me because I gave the show like 2 episodes. Let me see what she has to say.
I watched a couple of episodes also, but I watched kind of in the middle. And there were a few times where I really thought, oh, she's going to get it now because she's talking to some people who really need this help, and she spent some money on this one episode sending this one trans woman to nursing school, which is what she wanted, never would have been able to afford. So she did some good things, and it seemed to affect her, I guess, until the camera went off. Because
That was the estrogen, dude.
you know,
that was the estrogen. And she's such
Maybe.
a crybaby, man.
But
you
I feel
know?
like that's kind of like the opposite of John McCain. I think John McCain is coming from a sincere, authentic place, and I think, like you said, Caitlyn was coming from this place of, okay, now I want to be a spokesperson, so now I have to do for this community, and that's inauthentic. You
But
know,
in the same way, I am curious to know, anytime an issue like this happens, I do want to know what she has to say, just to see if she has evolved at all. It's just disappointing that she never does, and she says something more insulting.
You know, and what I've noticed about the trans community, especially just because, I mean, I'm a part of it, but there's always somebody who wants to be somebody, who wants to be the face, who wants to be the advocate, who wants to be the representative, you know, and do this and do that. And to the point where they start putting other people down, and they start, you know, and that's kind of what she's doing, and it might not be her intention, but that's what she's doing. You know what I mean? And it's sad because, you know, in a community, you need to, especially this one, you need to educate people, not see where you can get with it or what you get out of it. Not me, I. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, like, I have to go to work. You think, you know, but I love doing stuff like this because earlier today when we had the other show right before you guys, there was a lady sitting right here, and she knew nothing about trans.
Didn't know you were trans either.
No.
During the whole show.
And so it was awesome, and it felt good for me to just explain to her, you know, and she was like, it's so nice coming from somebody with a heartbeat, somebody this, because the only thing that people get out of the trans community is what they portray in the media, what they portray in Hollywood, and a lot of that is not true. Like, her being our representative, that's not who we are. You know, it's not who we are at all.
no.
Well, she's
And
super like in her bubble, in her own bubble of rich and
Of
celebrity
privilege and
privilege.
celebrity.
Yeah,
She should live in Dallas.
right.
you know,
She'd fit
one of
right
the,
in.
Right.
One of the problems, a lot of people in the trans community don't come out until they're older, and Caitlyn is older. It's wonderful to see these kids coming out as teens.
I love that. I love that. I was just telling my partner, if I had been born in this generation, I totally probably would have come out as gender fluid, but it just wasn't part of, you know, social conscious. It's just so awesome to see the youth. That is,
Well, because they can go through a normal childhood. They can go through a normal dating cycle. I mean, gay kids who are coming out as,
Yeah.
you know, in their teens also, it's healthy.
I mean, I'm in my
Yeah.
40s, and I just came out last year. And going through puberty in your 40s is not fun.
Right.
Right. I've never thought of that.
It sucks.
Because I remember seeing you like a few months ago, and I'm like, you have facial hair. Look at you. He's such a young man now. He's going through puberty.
It's just, you know what I mean? And it sucks, you know?
Yeah.
And it is nice to see, you know, who is Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's daughter. You know?
Right.
Shiloh.
I mean, it's so awesome that they're gonna, you know, start doing her transition now so that she doesn't have to.
Right.
And knowing how Angelina has been, she's super open-minded. She's
Oh,
like,
God, yeah.
yeah.
Do you know who one of the pioneers is in transitioning teens? Is Children's Hospital. They're one of 3 programs in the country that helps kids medically transition.
The Scots right?
I did not know that.
Children's Hospital right up here in the medical district,
Yeah.
right up the street.
Off of Stemmons?
That's a Scot. That's Scots right.
Wow.
That's Scottish Rite.
That's Scottish
No. It's right next door to Parkland.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's got
Okay,
the big
okay.
red
yeah.
balloon on the
yeah.
outside.
Right.
I didn't know
They
that.
have a wonderful program. Now, they don't do any surgeries, but they will do hormone blockers, things like that, till the child is 18 and can actually make some other
That's
decisions.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, more of mainstream America needs to know that, so they can know that this is completely legitimate. It's
Yeah,
not a
like,
young
this
kid.
This is a hospital. Like, this
pretending,
is not.
right.
Yeah, this is not an LGBT. Like, this is an actual hospital.
Because the biggest
Yeah.
issue from parents is, well, my child doesn't know what they are. He dresses up like a girl, but he doesn't know that I need to dress him up as a boy. And it's like, no, no, just let them do whatever they want and look at this hospital, go do research. This is a thing.
Yeah.
And, even if you just go to them just to talk to them, it's just a relief.
You've
It
already
just
lost
has
them
to
there.
be.
Talk to them. Parents talk to their kids. Please.
No, I mean, even going to Children's Hospital, even
Oh,
if you
to
can't
them.
afford this treatment, it's
Gotcha.
extremely expensive. But if you can't
Yeah.
afford the treatment, just going there, talking to them, and knowing that you can set up some sort of a plan where you don't have to hide it and want to kill yourself, which
And
is
then
what a lot
there's
of
others, there are other parents and other kids that are going through that as well. I mean, there's something to be said with knowing that you're
knowing
not
other
alone.
people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's other instances too where people can't come out. I mean, their professions don't allow them, their, family or whatever their situation is. And I think in that instance, it brings up a whole nother chapter.
Well,
know
for
what I
you,
mean?
you had to come out twice.
Yeah.
So
Well, the first time was kind of fake because, come on, that's probably why none of my relationships ever worked. Do I look like a lesbian? Do you? I was always told I never looked like a lesbian. I was asked several times if I was trans, and I had to deny it. But that's because I was an athlete. I couldn't. There's so many anti-trans policies in athletics, and that's my life. I just couldn't. Till one day I just said, fuck it. I can't do this anymore.
And are you still involved in any athletics?
Yes, I competed in my first CrossFit competition in February as a male and got second place.
yeah,
great.
that's right.
Great. This is DVTV. We'll be back with more right after this message.
Wow, that was like super fast. This is going like.
And welcome back to DVTV in Space. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Angel Martinez and Brandy Amara Sky, and Israel had to leave.
Close enough.
That's awesome,
Yes.
David. I love
Well,
that.
I'm just reading. What do I know?
Right.
What do I know? There was an interesting case this week. It's a sexual orientation discrimination case, which kind of dovetails into discrimination against trans people in the military, because that's also an employment case. You know, can people be employed in the military and do their jobs? Well, what happened was in New York, a skydiving instructor was fired by his employer. They would skydive in tandem, meaning two
Right.
people tethered together. And what this skydiving instructor would do is, if it was a husband and wife or a guy and his girlfriend, he'd say to the guy, "Don't worry, I'm gay." It worked for most people. Well, somebody complained. And his employer ended up firing him.
Because why? Because he said,
Because
"Don't
he
worry."
provided an experience that customers were not happy with.
Because he basically just said, "Don't worry about it, I'm gay."
Uh-huh.
So the owner is upset at him
And fired him.
and fired him because he said, "I don't want you because you're gay," or because you said you were gay.
And
Was-
they
was-
complained. I think
Because they complained. Because they complained.
He got a complaint saying, I guess, that they didn't appreciate the fact that their skydiving
So anyway,
person
he
was gay.
sued.
What?
Went to U.S. District Court. U.S. District Court said that, well, you can sue in New York court because it's against New York state law, but not in federal court because you're not covered under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. He appealed, went to the Second Circuit in New York. Second Circuit agreed with the lower court, so they appealed again to the full court, an en banc ruling, and that's what they're waiting for right now. If the full court agrees with the lower courts, he can appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. Yeah, it's actually not him appealing right now. He was actually killed in a skydiving accident, but his estate is continuing this
Wow.
lawsuit.
Wow.
Now, what
So-
I want to know from the boss, from the owner of that flight company, why did he fire him? I mean, because people could complain about anything. Oh, he's Jewish, or he's black, or he's Mexican. I mean, would
And
he
those
have-
were all reasons that people have been fired in the past. And
Exactly.
that's the whole point between this Title VII argument, that Title VII says you can't discriminate based on sex. Well, in 1964, when this law passed, not discriminating based on sex meant that I can't hire you because you're a man and not hire you because you're a woman, period. But it's been expanded, especially during the Obama administration, to mean I can't discriminate against you because of characteristics related to sex. In other words, sexual orientation that's related to sex. I expect you as a gay man to act a certain way, so I'm going to hire that straight man rather than the gay man.
Right.
And not based on gender identity, because I'm going to hire the real woman and not the woman who isn't the real,
Yeah.
and that mentality. And it's been expanded. The courts are now closing back in. And this is the Second Circuit, which is kind of a liberal circuit. So we'll see where this goes.
So then if they agree with the lower courts and it goes to the,
They can appeal to the Supreme Court.
do you think they're going to do that?
Oh, I'm sure that if they've already appealed to an en banc ruling, I think they'll appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court.
So do you
sure.
think when it gets up to the Supreme Court that it's going to rule in their favor?
Depends on whether Anthony Kennedy is still
That's
on the
what,
court.
yeah.
Depends on whether or not any of the liberal justices have retired by then. I think they would love to rule, though. The four liberals and Kennedy
Yeah.
would love to rule that, yeah, you can get married, you also can't get fired.
Yeah.
Right. So this guy, he didn't just say, "Oh, don't worry, I'm gay." He was gay.
He was gay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
It's
that's
a gay
what
guy.
I was
Yeah.
confused about.
He's
It's
a
like,
gay guy, and he was really just reassuring the boyfriend that, yes, even though I'm
They're
tethered
tethered.
together with your wife,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything, I'm gay.
Yeah, and I
Right.
don't care because I'm gay. Yeah.
right. I got it.
I'm just going to make sure the ripcord gets pulled.
And she doesn't die. And I
Gotcha.
don't die. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. The owner of the company, he just had something just against the guy, and he needed an excuse.
It was
to fire
new
him.
owners,
Ah.
new owners of this company.
Oh.
Yeah, he'd been doing this for years, and new owners of the company came in. They heard this, and a customer wasn't satisfied, so we're gonna.
Well, then I'm
Sorry.
glad all of this is happening because now they're like, "Oh crap, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Maybe we
Yeah.
shouldn't be such bigots."
They're standing firm.
Are they really?
Oh yeah,
What are they standing firm on? Just saying that it was.
that we fired him because
Inso-
he wasn't pleasing the customer. That
I
it
wonder
not
if there was an actual
discrimination.
complaint.
Oh, yeah, apparently there is a couple that filed the complaint.
Okay.
There really was.
But I wonder if it was the boss that talked him into it, saying, "Hey, we want to get rid of this guy." Blah blah blah. Complain to us, because I can't imagine what the complaint would be.
The person feeling comfortable enough to out themselves, maybe. Maybe they're just really religious and they didn't like the fact that
This
a
goes
gay was
back
touching
to
them.
this goes back to what do I care who or what you are?
Right.
You're trans, who cares? You're gay, who cares?
God cares.
That's what it is. It's morality. It's and I was just having this conversation. Cece and I had lunch earlier today, and we were just having this conversation where I'm so just flabbergasted that Donald Trump is still our president when everybody was carrying torches, wanting to impeach Bill Clinton when he got a blowjob. There's nothing that says anything about getting a blowjob, but everybody was ready to impeach him.
Right.
And it's like, because morality is such a big thing in this Christian founded.
But it obviously isn't. Do you remember a couple of weeks before the election when that video of Donald Trump, I'll grab her?
Right, exactly.
So
that's
why
also
all of a
true.
sudden
It's not more. Then it's not morality. It's that's interesting. Then it's something else.
it's morality when it's convenient.
Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
I was looking for. Exactly.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
morality when it suits the cause, the person saying it.
Cooper Smith just posted a story about he was looking for day camps for his kids. And on this one day camp in Arlington, there were all kinds of things about masturbation and this and that and all kinds of sexual stuff, and we don't believe in any of this on a day camp site. And Cooper's looking at this and thinking, now what does this really have to do with the kids going swimming every day? And homosexuality is wrong, and
Yeah.
I want that camp investigated for, if this is what's going on in the owners' minds, what are they doing to those kids?
That's-
And any parent who would let their kids go to that camp, they're out of their minds.
Or they just see, or maybe they see it as, okay, my kid's going to be safe here because here is a flat out saying, we're anti. It is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Don't
no,
get me
they're not
started.
going to be
Don't
safe
get me
there.
started.
No, they're
These
not going to be safe
ignorant
there. I'm
people.
looking for that camp,
no,
those
I'm-
people to be busted
Oh
one
yeah,
of these
no,
days.
I'm saying maybe that's a parent's mentality who have that moral clause in them.
Oh, yeah.
By seeing this, they're like, oh, okay, then no gays or anything immoral is going to be happening here.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
that's
We
where
need
you
to take a break. We'll be back right after
Pay the most
this.
attention to.
Right.
In the old days,
that
when you
went by
wanted a
super
home or
fast.
auto insurance quote, you called an insurance agency and they would give you a quote from the company they represented. But when you call the Stephen Graves Insurance Agency, Stephen gets quotes from all the companies he represents, bringing you the best coverage at the best possible price. For home or auto,
Call 877-599-0808. Stephen Graves Insurance.
And welcome back to DVTV in Space. We only have a couple of minutes
I
left.
know.
This was fun.
It was fun, David. Thank you for being here. This was
Well,
super awesome.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did a really good job.
I
And cutting to
know.
commercial breaks and everything when you
I
needed
know.
to.
I didn't even have
know.
to cut you off or
I know.
anything.
I usually
Dang.
cut her off when she's like about to get emotional, and then I'm like, nope, sorry, gotta
Yeah,
go break.
like I'm really getting into it, and he totally cuts me off all the time. So I'm trying to get him back, but time will come.
And she'll have to tell you about my poker face segment that she did. That was
Don't
amazing.
panic. Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah, for
Tell
you.
you about that later.
And you said we might do a segment of this.
We haven't announced it yet. We haven't announced
in a
it.
very special-
He almost gave away our big special announcement, hopefully for Pride. We're working on something really super juicy, and David almost spilled the tea.
You're fired because you're gay.
You're fired because you're gay. But yes, so hopefully
ever
we'll be
been
able to
fired
announce
for
that
being
really
gay?
soon. No, because I've only worked for LGBT companies.
Yeah,
really.
me too.
Yeah.
Yes, go on YouTube and do a search for Israel and DISD. How to? Yeah, that one.
DISD.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You were
Yeah.
fired from DISD for being gay?
Yes, and I made a video about it, and
I bet
I
you
sent it
did.
to everybody,
Oh,
all
I love
media,
it.
and it was amazing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like you.
Yeah.
I work for Gay Inc., so
Yeah,
you know,
I do
it's-
too.
Yeah.
Unless
so.
Tammy, and Terry want to fire me because I'm
Right.
gay, I ain't going
Yeah,
anywhere.
exactly.
Or
exactly.
Israel, yeah.
So much easier.
Yes,
So much easier
it's
that
so
way.
much easier.
I have one last statistic that did I even bring it? It's
Don't tell me it's on the
On the
last
last
page.
It's on the last page. Of course it is. And this is great that the number of people who have their HIV disease under control since the last study, which was a couple of years ago, has doubled.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good note.
That
to
is
end
good.
on.
So let's hope it keeps going in that direction. And shush.
I feel the same way with that thing.
And are we still on the air?
Yes.
Well, let's wrap it up then.
All right.
Thanks for
Thanks for
doing this
joining
today.
us.
Yes.
We'll see
and
you next week.
Have a great weekend. Take a little time to enjoy DVTV.